Another day, another video. Please ignore the fact that I actually haven't made one in several months. I'm sure that was just like a technical mistake, and I've actually been uploading videos this whole time and actually been busy on making this channel into something and not just, whatever, playing war games on my computer, right? That's definitely not what I was doing this entire time. Chill out, guys. I'm definitely okay. So in this video, I really want to quickly talk about let's take up the first 30 seconds of the video mumbling. Here I want to talk about wasting time, particularly when it comes to, what I've been doing a lot of recently. I feel like a lot of people beat themselves up whenever they take like some time off, or they feel like they've wasted it. They feel like they've been doing just whatever during the entire time. Let's say you wake up at around 3 p.m. and you really don't have the energy to do anything for the rest of the day. You just kind of sit around and do nothing. A lot of people don't like consoling themselves with the fact that, you have many days in your life. Because in retrospect, when we see family members around us pass, or whenever we see, our life flash before our eyes, whether it's in a near-death accident or encounter, or just whenever we fail an exam or whatever, we tend to think to ourselves like, whoa, like, life is really short. I need to, make use of the days that I have. But then you spend an entire day doing whatever, just in your bed, scrolling for reels, right? As I myself am guilty of doing, playing Block Blast, whatever. And you think, wow, like I wasted that entire day. Like that entire day meant nothing. It didn't mean nothing. For several reasons. The first one is that your brain actually does need time to calibrate and think of the stuff that is currently happening around it. Your muscles need time to recover. There's a lot of bodily functions that we don't see. Just recently, I've been at the dentist office quite frequently because, long story short, back when I was in England, I needed to have emergency dental surgery. And for those who are not familiar with how healthcare works in England, you have the NHS, which is free healthcare, right? They all brag about it, but you actually do need to wait 2 to 3 months for an appointment. If you want an NHS emergency appointment, you're not going to get that. Despite the fact that as like a resident of a foreign country, which I am, whenever you're coming into England or the United Kingdom on a visa, you need to pay a certain subcharge if you're going to be there for a long time in order for the NHS to take care of you. This is like what the normal taxpayers would pay in taxes per the average household income to the NHS every single year, which is a significant portion of your taxes, in order for them to take care of you if, there is a need, if you're required to. And throughout my year in England, over a year actually, I didn't need any NHS care whatsoever. I was literally thinking like, okay, I paid around £2,000 in order to have this healthcare provided to me for the entire year, and none of it went anywhere. I didn't use it. But no, towards the end, I was actually finding myself looking at the NHS sites because it happened that when I was eating, I was just eating something and then it like locked itself between one of my teeth, like in the middle of the tooth, and it fractured the entire tooth. So in effect, it had literally inserted itself in the what's called the crown of the tooth, and it had broken it in half. So I was literally walking the street back home for another 20 or so more minutes with like a broken tooth. And I was thinking to myself, well, this is such a shitty situation. I need to call up the NHS. I need to make an emergency appointment. That's what I found on the internet. So I called up all the numbers, and all of the NHS emergency appointment doctors are busy, and they will be busy for the next week or two. And some of them like speak Tagalog or something. Like I'm not really, I either hear voicemails or I don't hear any actual human being, all of the ones near me. And so I find a private clinic, and the private clinic is literally like, okay, we can fit you in the next hour. You can literally come to us in an hour and we can get your tooth looked at, but it will cost you like several £100s. And at that point, it's just like all of the countries with universal healthcare brag about having universal healthcare. They're like, oh, stupid Americans, no universal healthcare. But dude, like, I still need to pay for private healthcare if I want service now and not 3 months from now. And now think about like the old lady that has health issues. Like, she's not going to wait, 2 or 3 months. That's forever, right? When your health issue gets so bad, then 2 to 3 months seems like forever to you. And especially when you're dealing with an emergency, like having your tooth like hanging from the bottom, and people wonder why there's homeless people. If the cost of service at like for the basic like taxpayer held things is so bad, if the cost itself is in time and not in money, And time is a more valuable asset. I phrase this in a very convoluted way, but what I mean to say is it's actually way worse to wait 2 to 3 months for an emergency appointment than it is to pay a little bit. And by a little bit, I literally do mean hundreds of pounds. It's not a little bit, it's quite a bit. But comparatively, to pay some money to get it done now. And if you don't have any money, then you're just stuck wasting your time. And people wonder, well, how come people can be out on the streets for months or months? It's a civilized first world country. Well, that's how. Because you need money to do anything in this world, right? So I ended up getting this appointment, and basically I ended up having to get one of my teeth fixed up in an emergency setting. And recently, just I've been getting work done on this tooth, and I've been considering like the fact that I don't really care that much every single day about washing my teeth. I mean, like, they're white. That puts me, at least in England, that put me in like the top 10% of the people with the nicest teeth, right? But that puts me like as an average person, like I brush my teeth every single day. I don't think much about it. But then dentists make what, like $200,000 a year in the United States, literally just fixing up people's teeth. And me myself, like I don't think of what my teeth are like from day to day, but it turns out that there's actually a lot of work that needs to be done in some of them because of just the amount of like wear and tear that has been on them. And if I don't get them fixed up, then an infection can spread and whatever. And it's like, you don't think of these things. You don't think of your own health issues. You don't think of your own like daily struggles, so to say, with your body. We all just take those things for granted, like, oh, I'm gonna breathe tomorrow, oh, I'm gonna like digest my food, because all this stuff like happens automatically. It happens literally as we in our sleep. It happens in the back of our subconscious minds. We don't think about the effects that it actually has on the human body. But when you're wasting a day, when you're just like thinking to yourself like, oh, I've done literally nothing today, like in that one BoJack Horseman episode where, you know, he's just like one drink and then he goes into the bar and then he ends up drinking all day, and he's just like, well, you stupid idiot, that's one day you'll never get back, you stupid moron. That's not the way that you should be thinking to yourself, especially if you want to have like a more healthy state of mind. Because in situations like that, like, your body is still using that time to recover, especially if you do something like you go to the gym even like once a week, and your body needs a certain amount of hours per that week to actually recover from your training. If you're doing so much as like literally walking to the grocery store, then your body's using the fuel that you've eaten, so the food that you've eaten during that day, even if it's just some bullshit like chips, it's using that to replenish the muscles and the mass that was used to bring you to that place. So it's using that energy to optimize the next time you'll be walking or going somewhere. You're breathing the entire time. It's helping you relax. It's helping you, sort your mind out. There's bullshit that's happening in the back of your subconscious mind where you're worrying about things, the things that are currently happening in your day-to-day life, your relationships, your finances, your work life, past mistakes you may have made, mistakes that you're worried about making now. Like very small rudimentary stuff like that. All of that is just being sorted out in the back of your mind. You aren't even consciously aware that you're making progress, because day by day, even if you spend the entire day doing nothing, just literally watching the paint dry, which is probably not what you're doing. You're probably just watching TikToks because it's far more entertaining. Like, there's stuff that is happening every single time you think of something, even though you can't name the last 10 Instagram reels or YouTube shorts that you've watched. You can't name, what you've been doing the entire day when you've been just screwing around your laptop or your computer, right? But every single time a new thought comes up and it's something related to something that you thought about before, then you actually grow and develop and mature as a person. Even if you do fall behind, like, progress isn't a linear curve where you just get smarter and smarter and smarter every year. You're going to make mistakes in the future. There's going to be times in the future where, like me, you're going to be at the dentist's office and your teeth are going to be hurting. Or more likely, you're going to get into like a small car accident, or you're going to be stuck in an elevator and it's going to be really uncomfortable. There's a lot of things that happen in the day-to-day life that are actually quite uncomfortable. Even the process of like going to the bathroom to piss, right? That isn't ideal. We don't like to imagine that we'll spend at least, several hours total throughout the next few years on the bathroom, on the toilet seat, in the bathroom, shitting, or on the bathroom floor, literally like convoluting from diarrhea. But more than likely, because of our bodily processes, that is what will happen. We'll have a lot of uncomfortable experiences throughout our lives, and it's readying yourself for those kinds of situations, and then realizing, right, like the way that you progress forward for day-to-day life, even if there's hiccups, even if there's times where you feel like you've made a mistake or something that you've done isn't quite enough. you still prepare yourself for those situations in days like these, days where you don't do anything in particular. I've actually accomplished a fair bit today. I've been just focusing like on my like part-time projects and stuff. I obviously do video editing still, so I do a good bit of that. I do some writing. I've been focusing on stuff like that. So today hasn't been a wasted day, but I have many wasted days, and I don't look back on those days at all. Like, I don't think of them after the day has passed. They sum up in total to the overall days of my life, but I like to think of them as like filler episodes, in order to make not the entire show not like chaotic. Because, you know, we can take the example of television shows, right? If you're brain rotted and a first world person like me, we tend to look at television shows and be like, wait, there's too much stuff happening all at once. Filler episodes in your life, days where you don't really do anything, just exist in your mind's eye to have those filler episodes, so it feels like your life is not too overwhelming. And it's a lot different when your life is destroyed over the course of 2 years to when your life is destroyed over the course of 2 days. And even in the worst case situations where everything is going downhill, well, it's better that you have some time to yourself to figure stuff out. It has a higher chance of raising yourself up in the future because you've had just more time to think. And people don't really think of time as invaluable in that way, but take like the NHS example that I gave. Wouldn't you rather pay several £100s, or I guess that would be the equivalent of slightly more dollars because the pound is worth more than a dollar currently, so wouldn't you rather pay like several hundred more dollars for emergency healthcare right now if you're having an issue than to wait 2 to 3 months? It's the same thing with time. Even if you feel like you're wasting time, like, time is always on your side. There's always something that is currently happening. You never know. Like, in some years, you may walk into a cafe and you may, you know, find some change on the floor. And the only reason that you found that change is because you walked into that cafe an hour late. And the only reason you walked into that cafe an hour late is because you stayed up the day before, all the way leading back for the butterfly effect to that one time that you wasted an entire day doing nothing. But the fact that you wasted that entire day means that there's opportunities in life that you will now get because of the butterfly effect that you wouldn't have before. And maybe I'm thinking about it too deeply, but like, think about it. Everything that has happened to you in your life, whenever you have met someone important or relevant to you, these large things result from very small things and adaptations and changes that you have made throughout your day-to-day life. They may result from something as small as literally appearing at the grocery store at this exact time rather than 10 minutes earlier. There's a good scene in 500 Days of Summer that talks about this. But whether you choose to think of it as destiny or whatever, break days are important. They help you reset. They help you, you know, adjust your schedule. They set you on a good path. They help you, you know, think things through. And even if you've had an entirely shitty day when you had nothing to do, I reckon that day is fairly important. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.